Everybody. My name is Kyle Warner. I'm a community educator in the Humane Education Department here at the Dumb Friends League. This is my friend Raisin. She was adopted by one of our staff members with her sister, who is also a pug, and her name is Walnut. So they're Walnut and Raisin, and they're adorable. So the Dumb Friends League is, as I'm sure you know, an animal shelter. We take care of, and we find homes for homeless pets. We are something called an open admission animal shelter. And what that means is we will take in any animal that you bring to us. No matter what it is, we will take them. As long as it's not a human relative, you do have to keep those. But anything else, we will take in. However, we will only adopt out to people and families 4 types of animals, and those are cats, dogs, small mammals, which are bunnies, guinea pigs, hamsters, gerbils, mice, rats, ferrets, chinchillas, hedgehogs, all of those little guys. And we'll also adopt out something called an equine. An equine being a horse, a donkey, a mule, a pony, a mini horse, a mini donkey, technically a unicorn, but we've never gotten one of those. And all of the equines are kept at our Harmony Equine Facility in Franktown, Colorado. It's a 168-acre ranch where all those animals are kept and trained if they're riding horses and adopted out. The rest of those animals, cats, dogs, and small mammals, would be either at the facility I'm based out of here in Denver, the Leslie A. Malone Center. That's where most of the animals are, or at the Buddy Center down in Castle Rock, which is probably what you're most familiar with. We are the largest animal shelter in the Rocky Mountain region, and I believe the second largest private animal shelter in the country. We get over 21,000 animals every single year at the Dumb Friends League, every single year. And they all come to us for 4 reasons, right? So the number one reason we would get an animal is due to something called owner surrender. And what that means is that if someone has a pet that they can no longer care for whatever reason, Raisin's making a break for it. If they, make sure she doesn't get lost or tangled. Come on. If someone has a pet that they can't have for whatever reason, maybe because they can't afford to feed them, they can't afford veterinary care, they're moving to a new home where they're not allowed to have a pet, whatever the reason. Maybe they had a kid and that kid is severely allergic, and the baby can't handle being around the pet. Whatever it is, and there are hundreds of reasons why someone might have to surrender their pet, they can bring them to us and we'll take them in. So that's the number one reason. Most frequently, animals are coming to us through owner surrender. The second most common is from lost pets. If you find a lost cat or dog in your neighborhood, you can bring them to us and we will do our best to figure out who they belong to. We will hold them here for the state mandated minimum of 5 days to give the owner a chance to show up to claim that animal. If after 5 days nobody claims that animal, they will go up for adoption to find a new home. Once they have a new home, that original owner cannot get them back. So it's super important that we have 2 things on our cats and dogs, and that is a collar with tags with up-to-date information and a microchip with up-to-date information. This little thing right here, let's see if I can get a good, about the size of a grain of rice, is a microchip. It's a little computer chip that goes under their skin on their back, usually right between their shoulder blade area. And it's there, for the rest of their life. It has the owner's information on there. Every lost pet that comes in, we will scan for a microchip. It's just this little handheld scanner. If it beeps, it means that they have one, and we can look up on the computer who they belong to, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, most cats and dogs don't have either. They don't have a microchip, or they don't have a collar with tags, which means most of the animals coming to us as lost pets do end up going up for adoption to find a new home. The percentage of lost dogs that get to go home to their original owner is just under half. It's about 47%, which means over half of all the lost dogs here never get to go back to their original family, which is sad for that family, and it's sad for that pet too, right? Because they're probably bonded to that family, and that can be pretty hard for them to go through. So super important to have tags and a microchip. Either is good, but we would say both is best. Because if it does have a collar with tags, the person that finds that animal might be able to get you that animal before they would even have to bring it to a shelter, right? And a shelter can be a stressful environment for an animal. So if we can keep them out of that environment and just get them right to the original owners, that would be best. But things happen, tags fall off and things like that as well. So a microchip, that's not going anywhere. That is your best bet at getting that animal back. So 47% of lost dogs get to go home, but it's only about 12 to 13% of lost cats that come into us. So a drastically smaller number, right? And that's just, again, they don't have chips or tags. So if you have both of those, or at least one of them on your pet, when they get to us, it's a good shot that we'll be able to call you that day and say, hey, we have your cat, we have your dog, you can come pick them up at the Dumb Friends League. So we have owner surrender animals, and we have lost pets. The third most common reason we would get in an animal is through transfers. We are, if you've ever been up to the Denver facility, a huge organization. We have so much room, so much kennel space, even more now after renovations have been going on. We can fit a whole lot of animals here and take great care of them. Unfortunately, most animal shelters aren't as lucky as we are to have all that space and all the resources we do, and a dozen staff veterinarians here in the organization. So if there's another animal shelter that needs our help, whether it's on the Front Range or in Colorado, or either even in other states, we will take that animal in. And we do get animals in just about every week from other organizations, and we do get a lot from Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Wyoming, and surrounding states. So transfers, that's number 3. The fourth and least common way we'll get an animal is through our cruelty investigations department. We do have our own cruelty investigators, and they bring in, it's about 1% to 2% of our intake here at the Dumb Friends League. So it's a really small percentage, but it does happen. If they hear about someone that's not properly caring for their pet, they'll go to that person's home. They will look at the animal, talk to the owners, talk to the neighbors, and try to figure out what is going on with this pet. If they think that animal is in a dangerous place and the owners are breaking the law, that's a key thing. They do have to be breaking a law. Then our investigators may have to take that animal away from them, and we'll fix them up, take care of them until we can find them a more suitable home. So it does happen. A lot of what they do, though, is education right out in the community. Unfortunately, there are a whole lot of things that people can do with their animals that aren't what's best for that animal, but it is legal. A lot of our Colorado welfare laws are they're not very proactive. They're more reactive. So they're reacting to a situation that's already a bad situation that's already happened, rather than making sure that it doesn't happen in the first place, right? It is completely legal to keep your dog on a 6-foot chain, which is the legal minimum of a tether to have your dog in your yard on the hottest, day of the year, as long as they have shelter, shade, or something. And it's not considered a problem legally until after that animal has suffered an ill effect of being in that situation. So they're just doing a lot of educating. If they see a dog that's outside on a hot day or a cold day. They might tell them, what they could do to help make that dog's life a little bit more pleasant. And often everybody wants to, do what's best for their pet, and they'll make the adjustments that they can that have been recommended to them, which is awesome. So when they're helping animals, whether they're legally able to take them or not, which is awesome. They do a lot of great things in the community throughout the whole state. I think we have our investigators in like almost every county, if not every county at this point. So that's how we get all of our animals, all 21,000+ of them. The Dumb Friends League was founded in 1910. We've been around for quite some time, 110 years. That's why our name is a little too silly to some people. We were founded when the more common usage of the word dumb was meant to mean someone that couldn't speak, right? Someone who couldn't talk, they didn't have a voice to advocate for themselves. So we are the voices for these animals to help them get the things that they need: food, water, shelter, proper grooming, medical care, and all that good stuff. So we're not saying that the animals are not smart. I guarantee you most of the animals here at the Dumb Friends League are smarter than a lot of my friends. So it has nothing to do with that for sure. They're awesome. As you could probably imagine, not every animal that comes to us is ready to go for adoption just yet, right? There are a few circumstances that would preclude an animal from being an adoptions candidate immediately. And those are medical, right? If they're not well enough to go up for adoption, they might have to spend some time with our veterinary services team. They may not have the best behavior, right? If they're too fearful or scared, it just wouldn't be fair to them to put them terrified of people into a home of people until after we've kind of gain some trust with them a little bit first. So they'll work with our behavior department. We do have a fully staffed behavior department with volunteers to help use positive reinforcement clicker training to get them to kind of warm up to people so they'll enjoy living in a home. And then there are animals that aren't old enough or big enough to go up for adoption just yet. If a kitten or puppy is not at least 8 weeks old and 2 pounds, then they are not big enough to be spayed or neutered and then go up for adoption. Every cat, dog, and bunny will be spayed and neutered before they're put up for adoption if they aren't already when they come to us. And if we do have puppies, or if there's a litter that happened here or in one of our foster homes, we have about 300 to 400 foster families that help us out with fostering. Oh, Raisin's getting whiny. I gotta pick her up. Come here. You want to say hi again? Okay. I know. Yes. Stinky. Oh, that's so stinky. So if they're not old enough and big enough, they'll make sure they're taken care of in a foster home, and then when they are, they'll come back. They'll get that surgery, and they will be good to go. And that's a good chunk of what we do here at the Dumb Friends League. We've been consistently getting in animals and being able to adopt out animals since March, which is great. We just recently started being able to let folks back into the building up here in Denver, not yet down in Castle Rock quite yet, because it's a smaller facility. But we've been lucky to be able to find a lot of homes for the animals that are coming to us right now, which is awesome. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we do here at the Dumb Friends League? I'd be happy to answer.
Yeah, Kyle, this is Al Potter. Thanks for that overview, and thanks for all the great work you guys do.
Thank you.
I should know the answer to this question because we're donors, and I remember reviewing your annual report, which was very well done. But can you give us a good sense of the spread of revenue for the Dumb Friends League, and what the various sources are, and the extent to which individual and or institutional donations are an important part of funding your operations?
Yeah, I mean, Most of our funding does come from the community. So since we're a private nonprofit, we're not getting any governmental help. So it's all through people just donating regularly. Maybe they're annual donors. We have an estate giving plan, which I think the average estate gift is about $84,000 or something like that. We hold our own events throughout the year. Most of them are in the spring and summer, so we haven't been able to hold them in person, but we switched to a virtual format, and that worked out for us. But yeah, it's we do get grants and things like that, but it's overwhelmingly just community support wanting to help us out. And it costs us about $20 million a year to run the Dumb Friends League. So we got a lot of friends out there.
And relative to your discussion on microchips, we've, my wife and I have had 4 dogs over the course of our married life, all of them Labrador Retrievers, so we're a little bit biased towards that breed,
Yeah,
but
great dog.
They are. How does one go about getting a microchip? Just through your local veterinarian, or does the Dumb Friends League do that?
We do that. We also, if you're adopting from us, every cat and dog will already have one before you adopt them. But yeah, you can get one at your local vet clinic, vet hospital. It's really, last time I checked, we do them here too. I don't know if that's changed in the past few months, just to keep traffic down here. But it's really quick. They just use a little syringe and it's just pushed under their skin, and you're good to go. And it's electronically programmed with your information. Hey, what are you barking at? So yeah, it's pretty quick. I think when we were doing it, it was like $50 here. I'm not sure what a private practice would cost, but it's pretty reasonable, and you're just doing it once. Unless something really, really wrong happens, they're pretty much good for the life of the animal.
That's great.
Yeah.
I have a question. This is Shannon.
Sure.
Do you keep like pretty much all of the dogs and the breeds that come in? Just for example, we tend to like the dachshunds, and we've adopted a couple through the Denver Dachshund Rescue. So would you like send it to them, or what do you do about that?
Great question. Yeah. So I mentioned transfers. We'll transfer animals to us from other organizations, but there are some situations where we might transfer out as well. To give you an example, sometimes there is a certain type of breed of dog that I just have a really tough time adopting out on the Front Range here at Denver Metro. But a shelter on the Western Slope, they might just be flying out of the shelters over there, and they might have a breed of dog over there that they can't find homes for out there. So we'll swap. We'll take their dogs that they have types of dogs that they're having trouble adopting out, and vice versa. So we have those partnerships throughout the state. All the shelters in the state work together and collaborate to make sure that everybody is kind of going where their best chances of finding their forever home as soon as possible are. Great question.
Are you a no-kill shelter?
Great question. So we are a no suffering shelter, which means that we don't have to, the only reason we would euthanize is for suffering. So that means for medical suffering, if they're terminally ill, and it's just the most humane thing to do for that animal, or if it's an extreme behavior case that has turned into a public health risk. So if a dog bites someone, by law, they have to be quarantined for 10 days. So if we get a dog, then our behavior team is working with them, and someone gets bit, that's a mandatory 10-day quarantine. And then let's say 10 days are over, that dog comes out. Our behavior team tries to work with them again, they bite again. At some point, it's inhumane to that dog to keep putting them in, it's basically solitary confinement for a dog, since they're social beings. So in those extreme cases of behavioral suffering, that would be a case for euthanasia. But if an animal is up for adoption, they have as long as they need to find a home. Great question. I'm usually talking with kids, so it's nice to be speaking with adults. The quality of question is always so much higher with you guys.
I wouldn't necessarily count on that.
Anything else I can tell you about? Let's see if I can get Raisin back up here. Come here. It's a good thing we haven't invented smell-o-vision yet, because you would not want to smell this breath. Oh boy.
Tell me, Kyle, since we don't have too many other questions, we're curious. Seems like oftentimes there's a lot of information and misinformation, I think, about the pit bull breed. And you tend to see a fair number of pit bull mixed dogs in shelters, or at least that's my anecdotal experience from seeing it. What's your experience in terms of the ability to place that, either that breed or a mixed breed dog with that breed? And do you try to manage the recipients in terms of young kids, et cetera, relative to dealing with that issue?
Sure. So we don't view pit bulls as being any different than any other type of dog. All the things that have led to certain breed-specific legislation we find to be not really based in any inherent characteristics of the dog. They're not more aggressive. They're not more dangerous in any way. Just like any other dog, it's how they've been raised and socialized. It's just typically that dog is often bred and raised and socialized to be, dog fighting or whatever it is, and they get themselves into trouble and get a bad reputation. The only reason we have a hard time adopting out pit bulls here is because there's significantly fewer homes available to them, right? All of Denver, all of Denver's out, Aurora's out. So there's just fewer homes to them. If that legislation or the the ballot measure passes in November, and people are able to start having pit bulls in Denver, and this is just my own personal opinion, among the rest of us, we think they'll start finding homes a lot quicker, because I've talked to met so many people here in Denver that would love to adopt a pit bull or two and give them a home, and just can't. So if there are behavioral issues with that individual dog specifically, no matter what type of dog it is, that the prospective adopter will sit down with a behavior technician here, and they will get the full rundown on that animal's history, the work we've done with that animal, and what that family can do with that animal to continue their training to help them make more improvements. So if it's a dog with behavioral issues, that's a conversation that's going to be had regardless.
Thanks.
Great question. Yeah, of course. I had mentioned spaying and neutering all cats and dogs and bunnies. We believe in it so much that we actually have 2 mobile spay and neuter clinics here at the Dumb Friends League. So they're actually RVs that have been converted into vet clinics on the inside, and they are out in the public. I'm not sure what their schedule is these days, but they were out in the public 6 to 7 days a week, spaying cats and dogs for a drastically reduced cost to free. I think there might be a small fee for all of them now, but pre-COVID, all cats were spayed and neutered for free. So someone would just have to figure out where we're going to be for that day. We have partnerships with different community areas and businesses like Walgreens parking lots and things like that. And they would just come in the morning, drop off their cat, and then pick them up in the afternoon, and it would be of no cost to them. And we've done it's got to be tens of thousands in our Meowmobile and Lulumobile since we've had them, which has been a handful of years now.
Or do they
Do you guys have full-time veterinarians at the Dumb Friends League, or do you go out to different offices or different doctors?
We have 12 vets that work on staff here at the Dumb Friends League.
Wow.
I think they're all full-time. There might be a couple of part-time in there, but yeah, we're doing surgeries at the Dumb Friends League all day, every day, whether it's spay and neuters. The next big one is probably, the main one might be dental extractions, teeth that just need to be pulled. And so between just spays and neuters and dental extractions, they're pretty busy all day, and that doesn't factor in eye removals, limb removals, tumor or mass removals, all sorts of other things that they're able to do to help them out. They're busy.
Well, Kyle, thank you for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, we could sign off unless anybody has any more questions. We'd love to have you guys back.
Yeah, absolutely.
We might be doing our virtual programming for a couple more months.
Cool.
See how this winter goes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, okay. So we'll sign off, and thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for all your great work.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Take care.
You too.